Now call it peace of the graveyard, if you like, but a level of normalcy is gradually returning to Mali, the second day after President Ibrahim Keita was taken into custody by soldiers. Earlier today, Army Colonel Asima Goita presented himself as the head of the junta that ousted the president. For now, little is known about the backgrounds of the junta's leadership, which includes several other colonels. The capital, Bamako, is calm as people appear to be heeding calls from the junta's presumed spokesman, Colonel Ibrahim Ouaga, to freely go about their businesses and restart activities. Members of the junta met government ministry officials late on Wednesday to map out a return to stability, a day after detaining President Boubacar Keita in a coup that has rocked the country. Mr. Keita resigned and dissolved parliament on Tuesday after mutineers detained him at gunpoint.
Joining us now for an analysis of the situation in Mali is a professor and former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Bola Akinterinwa. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 10.
Thank you for having me.
All right. As it is now, West African leaders are calling that President Keita be reinstated. And how feasible do you see this, considering that there appears to be some local endorsement of the coup, given the months of protests calling for the president to step down?
I want to believe that the mania of handling the crisis by the ECOWAS authority is very faulty. Strategically speaking, it does not take into account the long-term implications. What is at stake right now is a conflict between people's sovereignty and the supranational sovereignty of the ECOWAS. They are not the same thing. And I think that the supranational sovereignty to which the ECOWAS leaders are trying to lay claim to, by insisting that there shouldn't be any forceful change of government as provided for in the additional protocol on good governance and democracy. I think that sovereignty under normal circumstances should always a priori belong to the people. Okay? The people in Mali are saying that something is fundamentally wrong with Ibrahim Boubacar Keita as their leader. They refer to the fact that in the past 2 years, for instance, people, school children, education have been at stake. They've not been going to school. They talk about bad governance. They talk about corruption. And in this case, if, for instance, since the beginning of this year, people have now been asking, complaining about Keita. Now, the sovereignty that is at stake is the sovereignty of the people. But because the ECOWAS strongly believes that there shouldn't be any forceful change of government, and I agree that there shouldn't have been. But when the people are complaining, what is it that the ECOWAS leaders have done at the level of satisfying the wishes of the people? I think that the protocol on this matter will need a review simply because it has become a desideratum at this critical point in time to lay greater emphasis on horizontal integration, the integration of the people, not integration of governments, not integration of presidents.
All right, Prof. Indeed, people have actually been calling that President Keita resign, that he steps aside. But then with the introduction of the military in this, can the military be controlled? Is there when the military takes over, is there a guarantee that the rule of law will be followed and that there will be normalcy everywhere?
This is why we should factor in one Yoruba proverbial saying, what is behind 6 is more than 7. Military intervention is not the classical one we are used to. ECOWAS leaders are talking about coup d'etat. Left to me, it's not coup d'etat. It's far from it. How can you talk about coup d'etat in a situation whereby the people have been asking that, look, this is what they want? Why not address the fundamental rights of the people? Why is it that it is the right of the government you want to look at? It is simply because of the implications for the totality of Africa that I look at it to say the sovereignty of the people must, a priori be given preeminence. You see, the military has not come to power. They didn't plan the change, or they didn't arrest Keita because they want to rule. No. So in this case, it is not the normal military setting that you are looking at that we have in Mali. But where you are right, and that is why the decision of the ECOWAS leaders is most unfortunate. You see, the military, as they have come in now, Mali is the regional headquarters of all these Hakim, Al-Qaeda, terrorism, etc. all along. If they do not manage it carefully, if they begin to insist trying to sanction Mali under a military setting, that will give an opportunity to the terrorists, to the Tuaregs in the north, and they will just spread easy and quiet to the other part of West Africa.
All right, Prof. But as it is now, it is a coup because the military actually intervened, took him into custody, and it wasn't until the next day that he announced on national television that he was resigning.
Please, etymologically, a coup is different from coup d'etat. It's a French expression. When you talk about the use of force to change government, and force in this case, you need to redefine it itself. Now, this one is far from being a coup d'etat, even though people believe that the moment you use a quantum of force to change government is coup. And that is what ECOWAS leaders are trying to capitalize on. But here, the truth of the matter is that the situation in Mali is becoming chaotic to the extent now that the military were compelled to come in. Now they arrested him. It's a bloodless, quote unquote, coup.
So you still do not believe it's a coup, but we understand there is a military intervention. And it said that the worst of a democracy is better than the best of a military.
Do you know that as of today, latest development in Mali, because of the way ECOWAS leaders are going about it, now the whole people now say they are coming to demonstrate and to show that this is people's revolution.
All right, considering the situation now, what is the way forward? How can ECOWAS be better integrated to ensure that member countries, member states can provide exactly what the people need, welfare and security per time?
We must first of all begin to have a rethink about these protocols. All right? It needs a fundamental review. I shared the view of a colleague, Dr. Remi Ajibewa of the ECOWAS, who has been thinking along this line that we need to review that protocol. That's the starting point. The second point is to begin to give emphasis on the position, the thinking, the interest of the people. You see, we need horizontal integration. We need the integration of the peoples of West Africa. It's not the integration of government to government. Why, for instance, Keita's administration has been accused of corruption. Why are you not talking about that? Why do you now say that you want to restate somebody who has been accused of that? West Africa as a region, Please, go to Guinea, go to Cote d'Ivoire. Protests unlimited. Protests are increasing everywhere. So, governments in West Africa must no longer take the people's interests at stake. Please note, and I'll be very brief on that. You see, the moment in Nigeria people begin to protest against government, and you now use force, you use force to disperse them, to disrupt peaceful protests. That is how it started.
All right, Prof. It's a good way to end the conversation. Professor Bola Akinterinwa, former Director General, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 10.
Thank you.